Good morning. Welcome to the Gringo Baker. Today we're going to make a chocolate pie. This is by request, so this video is for Bella. Now before we start, I want to address what I think is an elephant in the room. That is the fact that in the earlier videos you saw that my cheek was really red and got progressively redder as the videos went on. Well, that was because I'm using a chemotherapy cream to kill multiple precancers on my face. And that's why, as you can see, my nose is bright red and there are spots on my forehead. That's because I was pretty stupid about being in the sun in my younger days. I spent a lot of time fishing and a whole lot of time in the sun without using sunscreen and not always wearing a hat. So my little PSA is, if you're going out in the sun and you're a redhead particularly, use sunscreen. Make shade, do whatever you can, stay out of the sun so you don't end up with a really itchy face, because it really itches. Doesn't hurt, but it itches really badly. Okay, so on to the pie. To make this, you need to start with 3 egg yolks. It says slightly beaten, but it's going in a mixer, so I'm not worried about beating it too much here. And then you want a 1.5 cups of sugar, which there's a 1.5 cups, even though this is a 1 cup measure, because I measured the other 1/2 cup separately. And turn your mixer on and mix these until they cream together. Okay, once that is done, then you mix in your chocolate. This is a 1/2 cup. I used special dark chocolate. It gives it that flavor that makes us call it a brownie pie. You want to go slow here because this stuff flies. Then we've got 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and a half teaspoon of salt. Mix it until it's well combined. Once in a while you might need to scrape down the sides of your bowl a little bit. If you don't have a KitchenAid like this, stand mixer, you can use a hand mixer as long as it's got some oomph to it. Once it's pretty well combined, it kind of looks like Oreo cookie crumbs at this point. You can start adding milk. This first, I'm doing a little different from the recipe this time. I'm kind of trying an experiment. This is a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. The recipe calls for 3 cups of milk, so I'm going with a 1/2 cup of heavy cream, 2.5 cups of milk. I'm hoping for a rich flavor. Pretty rich anyway, but hoping for a little more. And this is really heavy cream. So you add the milk slowly. So we're just gonna scoop some out and dump it in about 1/3 cup at a time here. But there's a nice lump on the bottom. So I'm going to break up a little bit and then stir some more. Let's try that and see if it smooths out. I'm going to try a different beater, because this one isn't mixing it as well as it could. Okay, we're going to call that long enough. What we do after that is let it drip for a second, and then pour it into a pan that's big enough to hold it and allow it to cook. Okay, once we've got it in the pan, then we take it to the stove until it is thick and done. Let it boil for maybe a minute, but be very careful with it because it will burn. So you need to keep stirring it constantly. And then when it is done on the stove, you dump in a tablespoon of butter and a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. And I frequently forget those two items. So I started making, you can't see it, but I started making a checklist so that I can check off the ingredients so I don't forget anything. All right, let me move the cameras and stuff to the stove, and we'll resume in a minute. Now we're in our storm kitchen. It has a little gas stove, and I can set up the overhead camera much better in here than I can in our real kitchen. Plus it has a gas stove, so I can hopefully regulate the temperature as evenly as I want. I guess you can see my overhead camera in the front-facing camera. So you can see that I'm slowly stirring it at this point, but we'll probably get a little more vigorous after it starts getting pretty warm. This is a warm room because it's small. It's actually the laundry, but it has this small gas stove in it. I do a whole lot of my baking on this stove because it's better to heat up one small room than the whole kitchen, and Puerto Rico starts out pretty hot to begin with. While I'm stirring this, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to consider subscribing if you like what I make in these videos and enjoy watching myself fumble my way through or whatever reason. I'd love it if you would subscribe. And I really like it if you make comments. Even negative comments are better than no comments, but don't be shy. If I can do this, you can write a comment. The other thing you could do, if you really felt like doing good for the channel, is if you're on Facebook, you could share a link to the video, this one or any of the other ones. And thank you very much. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed and those of you who watch. I have fun making these videos. I hope they're getting better and that you're enjoying them more. I made this pie for my son who was visiting last week, and he describes it as tasting very much like a brownie. And you can't go wrong if you have something that tastes like a brownie. I think the key to that is the special dark chocolate. Baking powdered chocolate, cocoa. When I stir this, I leave the spatula right on the bottom of the pan the whole time, so it scrapes the bottom as it stirs the ingredients together. You can see this is pretty dark colored filling. Now I'm speeding it up a little bit because I'm starting to feel it dragging on the bottom of the pan. And we don't want that because that means it's going to burn. Starting to thicken up. This is when you really want to start paying attention because it's pretty mindless to stir up to this point, but once you get here, you want to watch it and stir so that it doesn't burn, and watch it for signs that it's boiling, because once it's boiling, you want to let it do that for 1 minute. Yeah, I got a couple bubbles coming up, so we're going to turn the heat down a little bit. And we're going to look at the clock. Now you can hear it bubbling, I think. You want to use a fairly long-handled spatula when you do this because it hurts when this stuff bubbles up onto your hand. Ow, like that. And it's done. Now, we stir in our butter. And our vanilla. I didn't get all the butter yet. Now we just stir it until the butter's melted and it's all silky smooth. Once this is done, we go back to the other kitchen and we pour this into a pie shell that I baked this morning and cooled. Once that's done, we cover it with a piece of plastic wrap so it doesn't skin over, and we put it in the refrigerator for at least 2 and probably 4 hours is better. It will get quite firm. It'll firm up like a pie should be, and that's it. Okay, this is all ready to go. So I'll see you in the other kitchen. Okay, we're back in the regular kitchen. What we're going to do now is just pour this into this pie crust. Look how good that looks. It smells absolutely heavenly. in the plastic wrap over the top. Keep track of your scissors. Compress it right down, or pat it right down onto the surface of the pudding. And that will keep it from skinning over. And that's your completed chocolate pie. When I serve this, it's usually with whipped cream, although I think we'll go pretty good with vanilla ice cream. That's the video. Here you go, Bella. Okay, now we have a piece of this beautiful pie, and we're going to take a taste. Delicious. You're going to love this one, Bella.